In the quiet suburbs of Nishinomiya, March 18, 1984, felt like any other spring night. Katsuhisa Ezaki, the driven president of Ezaki Glico, a company synonymous with joyful treats like Pocky sticks and caramel pops, drove home after a long day. The air hummed with the promise of cherry blossoms, but beneath it lurked an unseen storm. Ezaki, a man in his 50s with a reputation for quiet intensity, had no inkling that his routine parking spot would become the threshold to terror. As he stepped from his car, shadows detached from the gloom. Figures in nondescript tracksuits, faces obscured by masks that blended into the downpour. The intruders moved with chilling precision. First, they slipped into the nearby home of Ezaki's elderly mother, binding her wrists with cord and silencing her pleas. Keys in hand, they breached the president's residence like ghosts through fog. Ezaki, fresh from a bath, was caught mid-stride, overpowered in seconds, a cloth pressed to his face. Blindfolded and gagged, he was dragged into the night, bundled into a waiting van that vanished into the labyrinth of Osaka's backroads. This wasn't random violence. It was a calculated strike against an empire built on sugar and smiles. The kidnappers left no prints, no traces, just the echo of a slammed door. Hours later, a chilling communique arrived at Glico's headquarters. 1 billion yen, equivalent to millions in today's currency, and 100 kilograms of gold bullion. Failure meant Ezaki's death. The company, a pillar of Japan's confectionery world, teetered on the brink. Executives huddled in fluorescent-lit boardrooms, weighing the impossible. For 3 agonizing days, the nation held its breath, unaware that this was merely the opening gambit in a symphony of sabotage. Deep in an anonymous warehouse on Osaka's industrial fringe, Ezaki endured a psychological gauntlet. His captors, a cadre of at least 5, forced him to witness their casual consumption of Glico's own products, each bite a mocking reminder of the empire they held hostage. Bound to a chair amid crates of untouched inventory, he glimpsed their faces only in fleeting shadows. Ordinary men, perhaps, twisted by grudge or greed. They spoke little, their actions a silent indictment of corporate excess. On the third dawn, sensing an opportunity in their momentary lapse, Ezaki slipped his bonds and fled into the misty streets, heart pounding like a war drum. Ezaki's escape was a hollow victory. The kidnappers had already secured their initial payout through a tense drop in a remote park, but retribution brewed. In the weeks that followed, the perpetrators shed anonymity, adopting a pseudonym drawn from pulp fiction. The 21-faced Phantom, a shape-shifting specter from Edogawa Rampo's tales of elusive masterminds. This alias wasn't mere flair. It was a declaration of multiplicity, hinting at a network of faces behind the chaos. Letters began to surface, penned in playful yet venomous prose, laced with regional dialects that mocked the authorities' grasp. As Glico regrouped, the Phantom's missives escalated, revealing intimate knowledge of factory layouts and security flaws. They weren't just thieves, they were saboteurs, exploiting the very sweets that symbolized post-war prosperity. The public, once blissfully munching on imported chocolates, now eyed every wrapper with suspicion. This phase marked the shift from personal vendetta to national nightmare. By May, the threats turned lethal. Envelopes stuffed with granular peril, sodium cyanide crystals, arrived at Glico's gates, accompanied by vows to taint millions in inventory. The Phantom boasted of infiltrating production lines under cover of night, dosing chocolates and biscuits with enough toxin to fell dozens. Though initial tests found no widespread contamination, the mere allegation ignited panic. Supermarket shelves emptied overnight, families shunning the once beloved brands that had sweetened childhoods across the archipelago. The assault intensified with flames. On a humid May night, accelerants ignited at a Glico facility, sending plumes of acrid smoke skyward. Firefighters battled the blaze for hours, saving the structure, but not the symbolism. A company under siege, its future charred. The Phantom claimed responsibility in a follow-up taunt, deriding the response as child's play. This act wasn't just destruction, it was psychological warfare, forcing executives to question every shadow in their vast operations. The economic hemorrhage was staggering, product recalls costing fortunes, jobs lost in the hundreds. But the true casualty was trust, parents rationing treats, children whispering of cursed candies. The Phantom reveled in this erosion, their letters a carnival of clues that tantalized yet evaded capture. Emboldened, the Phantom pivoted to Morinaga, the dairy and sweets behemoth whose yogurts and bonbons graced every breakfast table. Letters arrived with powdered menace enclosed, demanding reparations for Glico's fortuitous gains. By autumn, Tainted parcels surfaced in stores from Tokyo to Kyushu, harmlessly labeled but harrowing in implication. Morinaga's stock cratered, mirroring the broader tremor through Japan's food sector. No confectioner was safe. Marudai's hams, house food spices, all fell under the extortion umbrella. Demands ricocheted like bullets, each accompanied by gifts of peril, acids, toxins, blueprints of vulnerability. The Phantom's network seemed omnipresent, striking from sewer accesses to rooftop vents, always one evasion ahead. This wasn't mere greed. It hinted at a deeper vendetta against the saccharine facade of corporate Japan. Transition, sewer grate clangs open. Image prompt, underground sewer tunnel in 1980s Tokyo. Flickering lantern light revealing gloved hands planting toxin vials amid rushing water. Fragmented mask reflections on wet walls, claustrophobic cyberpunk aesthetic, neon drips, and echoing voids. Media frenzy amplified the dread. Headlines screamed of phantom plagues, fueling hoarding and hysteria. The once vibrant markets turned ghostly, a nation choking on its own abundance. Over 1 million investigators combed leads, linguistic quirks pointing to Osaka roots, grainy glimpses of a slitted gaze operative. Suspects from yakuza fringes to foreign operatives surfaced, only to dissolve. A tragic self-immolation by a shamed prefectural chief underscored the human toll, his flames a pyre for institutional failure. In August 1985, after a parting salvo of scorn, the missive ceased. No arrests, no confessions, just statutes of limitation sealing the vault by 2000. The Phantom's motive? Perhaps insider betrayal, organized shadows, or ideological sabotage. Theories linger like bitter aftertaste, a disgruntled worker's revenge, or a syndicate's market play. Today, the saga inspires shadows in manga and minds, a reminder that beneath sweetness lurks the sour unknown. What faces hid behind the 21? The Phantom endures, unsolved, a riddle wrapped in wrappers.